And we back, and we back. Yeah. Hey, this ain't no intro.
This is the intro.
Yeah, this is the intro.
This is the intro.
It's the entree. Hit that intro with Kanye. I sound like Andre. Tryna turn my baby mama to my fiance. She like music, she from Houston, like Auntie Beyonce. Man, my daughter couldn't have a better mother if she ever.
Tell them why you mad, son. So let's do this. Let's do this, Miss Fa-I-U. You know what I mean? So you apparently got things on your mind you want to say. Let's speak on it. Let's talk about it.
Whatever.
Okay. All right. Since you feel away.
Anyway,
since you got something in your chest.
Listen, he says I do panicking very well, which I highly do not think is true.
You can't see my face, but that was the yeesh face anyway. All right, so since we airing it out now,
anyway, welcome to another episode
of the Coco Lesa podcast. I just want to say, yes, thank you for being back with us. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Thank you for sharing your listenership. Right. So this is gonna be a little bit of a debate, right? So I've spoken to my wife already, and we have made the agreement. Well, I put out a suggestion. There's no proof that she's going to honor it. That she not get into her feelings over this conversation. So on that note, I would just like to say, this is all purely hypothetical. We love each other very much. We are in a good, healthy, happy relationship. We are both willingly serving life sentences in that relationship. But something that we argue about whenever we have the conversation, because we very much disagree on child support. Right? And so that's hence the title of this episode, Supporting Your Child, right? So this conversation comes from two places. First, recently on the TL, there was a discussion, and it was mostly among African women, and women of African descent directly from Africa. And it was something that they had been told by their mothers and grandmothers and aunts, and something that they had accepted as the reality of their lives, right? And that was that no matter how good the husband, no matter how good the father, that they would be married women, but they would be single mothers, and that the children would forever be their responsibility and their sole responsibility. And a lot of women chimed up to say that that was indeed their lives. And then the second half of this conversation is, again, literally child support payments, and things that happen, after marriage, post-relationship. And so the first one, or the first half of that, for me was very interesting because
I feel like a lot of women can relate to that.
Yeah, well, you felt that way. You felt that way the entire time that you were the primary care provider and I was at work.
What?
You very much held that sentiment, and a lot of things that you said and a lot of ways that you responded to things, you often, regardless of how much I helped, you often made it clear that you felt like I wasn't doing enough and you were doing it solo.
Wow.
I'm being honest about things that you reciprocated to me with your tone and sometimes directly with the things that you said.
Wow.
You feel as though that's not true?
Yeah, I highly feel as though that's not true.
Even as recent as in New Jersey.
I have never...
When you were upset with me because you felt like you were pretty much consistently putting Angie to bed by yourself every night, and you didn't really feel as though I was helping after work. And that's a statement that you said, that you made yourself.
Well, no, I feel like that's entirely different circumstances. And listen, one thing I don't feel men really appreciate or understand is post-pregnancy, post-giving birth, that period post-birth is very, very, very difficult for women for a lot of reasons. And it's not literally like there's no time frame to that difficulty.
Have I ever placed the time? You feel as though I've placed the time?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that not enough consideration is given for that. So are
you speaking in general or are you speaking specific? Do you feel as though I fall into that group?
No, but if that's how you felt that
I'm not
that
going
kind
off of how I
situation
felt.
went.
I'm going off of things
It
that
may
you've said
have
and
been-
implied to me.
It may have been that just mentally, in terms of mental health, I wasn't in a very great place. Because I don't... being in the house all day with children,
So
being
just to
the
clarify,
only person looking after...
My wife suffered from very heavy postpartum depression, which hit her pretty hard.
And it doesn't help that you're in the house pretty much all the time with these children. And I had 2 pregnant with the 3rd, so it wasn't like...
It
wasn't at that time like I was like, oh, you're not helping out, you're not helping out.
The postpartum hit kind of hard, but I mean, like, we had the car, like, but
So
and I wasn't.
This is just from my perspective. It wasn't so much that you're not helping out. It's
you were still. It was a lot. It was a lot to deal with.
At certain instances, at certain times, you kind of maybe I didn't, explain it well enough, or was self-aware enough to say, "Oh, look,
And
I'm at a
just
50%
to be clear,
place right now."
That wasn't me attacking you.
Yeah, I know, but this is
intent.
also very relevant, I feel, for women out there with postpartum depression, or a lot of people who don't know that they have postpartum depression. That period in their life is very
turbulent, and it's very difficult to manage, even when you do have support,
and even post that stage.
And the reason that this discussion for me was very necessary, especially pertaining to the part of the topic that we're on now, is because I actively play more of a role in my children's lives than most fathers do or ever will. And so that was a very interesting thread for me, and that's even before we changed roles and I became their primary care. I've always made the utmost effort to be present and active in every aspect of our family life from the very beginning. Because I've always found it disgusting when men say things like babysit the kids. You're not babysitting because they're your fucking kids.
Yeah.
That's never been me. But I felt as though personally from the things that you conveyed in the way that you said them, that you felt as though there were times when that was the case.
Yeah, but I've never, I do apologize if that came off that way, but I don't ever feel like you haven't been a present father. But I do feel like a lot of the women out there...
And let's be honest, that is a lot of women's situations. Not even just talking about all of the single mothers in our community, but there are a great deal of women in our community and our cultures and our backgrounds who are married women and single mothers.
And I feel like, especially so for cultures that are very, like Pacific Island cultures.
I apologize for anybody who felt awkward just now. Y'all didn't realize we was going to get real about shit, but we jumped right into it. Okay?
But for very black and brown cultures where even I guess even white cultures, it stems from a lot of patriarchal views, a lot of traditional roles that have kind of been embedded.
Like it's the woman's job to do
kind
these.
Of, even though men feel that they're a bit progressive now, there are a lot of roles that they feel are kind of inherently for women to do, and that's
right. And we've had that conversation for years, because I personally know many instances where this happens and has happened. Again, even in my response to the TL first, there's a situation I tell you about all the time where there was this guy who wanted a son. Not even a kid, he wanted a son, like most men. Son for years. And then as soon as they got married and his wife got pregnant and had the baby, he was done. Didn't even care. He was completely hands off.
Yeah.
I mean, like, right there, she's crazy tired. Kid is terrorizing her. And he's like, watching his show is not his concern. He did what he needed to do. Do your job.
Yeah. And that...
A lot of dudes look at it that way. There are a lot of fathers who don't even know the birth dates of their children. You know what I mean? Or things like that. And it's different. We're not talking about the dads who have a big family or who have had to be sole provider and they work so hard and they work so many jobs that there's things that they aren't active in, but not because they don't choose to, but because they are completely focused on the security of their family financially and they don't have a choice in that. We're talking about the men who have time and money and actively choose not to be a part of those things because they don't care to. It's not their concern. It's not their job. It is a woman's job, not my view, their view of many men, to take care of these things, to clean the house and take care of the children and make sure their needs are met and feed their family. My wife can't even cook. Nigga, I do all the cooking. Anyway,
but that also, I remember there was a big debate on Twitter about who should be fed first.
Your husband or your child.
Yeah. And it just blows my mind that people have these kind of toxic... Let's just be real. This is toxic masculinity at play. It's like...
Well, there are a lot of people, men and women, not just men, not just from a point of toxic masculinity, that choose their partners over their children.
And I'm not, like, I'm not necessarily saying one or the other is... Well, yes, I am. I'm sorry.
You are.
No, but like I tell you always, it's not that I love my children more. It's just I love them differently to the way that I would love and show affection to you. And that's okay. But people who kind of try and measure it in terms of who goes first, your child
or your spouse,
is just kind of redundant and ridiculous.
Yeah, got you.
On this.
And I think that was something very to add on to that. So other things that I said in that thread were, especially from our parents' generation, one of my aunts was sick and she was getting ready to pass away, and we went as a family to the hospital to be there and show support. And my uncle was trying to have a conversation with me because he hadn't seen me in years, and I told him he had to wait, because we had just got there after like 2 hours of travel, and we needed to change the girls and get them out of their travel clothes and get food ready. And he was like, "Oh, you trying to be a father?" Like, and that shit like shocked him. And when I said that on the TL, people were like super disgusted, but it was shocking to him.
Yeah.
That like I wouldn't just leave everything to you.
Well, to be fair,
do these things.
Was it your uncle? I think I remember it was your uncle.
Uncle David.
Yeah, this is your uncle who kind of grew up in a generation where...
I'm not slandering him.
I know, but just for context, this is your uncle that kind of grew up in a generation where they had two families and they didn't know each other, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, listen, like... I was just getting ready to slander people
I'm going to get some bread from down the store and
you getting ready to tell me about my family. Your grandfather had 3 families and your mother doesn't have your grandfather's last name. So let's not start that discussion. But anyway. But no, that is very much his generation.
And that's not like... 5 generations back. This is like...
That's 2. 1 and 2.
1 and 2, so it's kind of... I kind of understand...
Back in the day when you could do things like that.
There's still like I said, D.L. Hughley
tells the joke all the time. You never met your daddy's other family into the funeral, and they'd be like, "We his real kids." So... But that was very much... But that's still... In our community, that... There are quite a few men in our age range, from you to me, who have multiple families.
Yeah.
There was this one girl. They posted it on TikTok. It was on the TL.
Which isn't a bad thing to have multiple families. It
didn't work out. You kept families. Yeah. Well, that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
That's a whole different discussion because we just had.
That's the next discussion about child support.
Yeah. Fair. That's the next discussion about child support.
Yeah, but anyway, you were saying.
No, there was this one girl on the TL who posted a TikTok explaining her family dynamics. Her dad had. She has, I think, 17 siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And
which I know Pacific Islanders that have that big.
No, but her dad had like 6 different partners.
Okay.
And he had like 2 to 3 children with each women, and then his last partner is a man, and they adopted 4 more kids.
Interesting.
Yeah, so her family is super complicated, right? So like I've said it already, like we said, do you agree we're lifers?
Yeah.
Okay, so right, we're lifers. So the vast majority of this is hypothetical. Some things apply, some things don't. But so something she and I have always disagreed on is child support, and we've seen a lot of different videos, a lot of different discussions. But we're always going to be in different places on this. And the reason that this popped back up is because I was watching Vlad TV today, and there was a comedian named Earthquake on it, right? And one of the mothers of his children. Actually, I think only one, all right? The mother, no, he has 2, but one of the mothers of his children, regardless, went on a platform and did an interview to blast him for paying his child support early because she was in fear that because he no longer needed to make payments, that she was going to be homeless, right? Not her son, that she was going to be homeless, right? And so his response was this, and I agreed with every single thing he said. The first part of it was, he is not someone else's employee. He doesn't work for someone else, so he doesn't get sick days. He is a contractor. He is his own business, right? And so in case he was ever sick, he paid extra every payment. He was lucky that he didn't get sick, but he still paid the extra every payment so that just in case he didn't have, he didn't get in trouble, because there are a lot of people who go to jail for missing child support payments, right? And he said even outside of making every payment, even outside of the child support, every financial need that his children had, he was paying for. Outside of the child support. So he was paying for their school, private school trips, vacation, clothes, all of that, and still paying child support. Okay? Child support is to support the child. This is the conversation that we keep having, is where that's a place where you and I differ, right? So he said, the first part was, you can't be happy and gung-ho when men have to pay back payments and you get a big lump sum of money, and then be angry, upset when they pay off the child support early and the faucet is stopped running. Okay? He said, too, here's the main issue with the situation. He said, this is the mother of my child. If she would have come to me, I would have given her more money than what they asked for. I didn't involve a third party. She involved a third party. And when they did that, they gave me an amount, and I paid that amount every month. And when she ran out of money, which she was clearly spending to support her lifestyle, she didn't come to me. She went and did an interview and blasted me about finishing my payments early. I feel like
this is a very exceptional circumstance.
No.
Yes.
There are a lot of situations where this is the case, but those don't get publicized and spoken about. All you hear about is the men that don't make their child support payments, especially when it's men of color.
I'm not saying that that's not true. That these situations in which men do good by women, I'm not saying that those don't exist. But where me and you, like you said, differ is, like you said,
the child support is for the child.
No, the child support is for the child, but the child, listen, this is the mother of your child.
Right.
If
we are amicable,
how is she supposed to? How is she supposed to look after her child if she's not in a good position? Also, I'm not saying she needs to be balling in her a Mercedes car.
This was the essential argument that started and jumped this off for us, because I was talking about how Chief Keef has the worst lawyer in the world, and it made me angry because Chief Keef's baby mama gets $32K a month. And there are people that don't make $32K a year. Okay. And that is disgusting to me. So and this unnecessary. And that was what initially started this argument for us.
Yes. A lot of the arguments that we have are about kind of that spectrum of celebrity that kind of have the finances, are well off. They're not everyday people who kind of struggling day in, day out to try and make money.
Right.
So, in that circumstance with Chief Keef, I wholeheartedly feel like that decision by the judge is correct.
Can you elaborate and expand on why? Help me understand.
Well, Chief, listen, if you as a man are on Instagram or on Money to Your Ear, whatever, like you are living a certain lifestyle, how in your good conscience would you feel if the mother of your children is living one bedroom kind of house?
I guarantee you.
I'm not saying.
I guarantee you, if Sosa is walking around in Louis V belts, Sosa's jit, a jit is a baby, a jit is a boy, Sosa's jit has on Louis V belts. I guarantee you, I promise you that. If Sosa lives in a 30-bedroom mansion, I guarantee you Sosa bought a jet his Jita house. I guarantee you that his baby mother gets to live in rent free to take care of his child. She wants for nothing. There's no need for $32K a month.
No, you clearly don't understand finances at that level.
I clearly understand that Sosa covers those.
No, listen. Going back to what you said before about how they pay for school and stuff like that. Clearly, we know from being parents that there are other expenses that pop up. We know from being parents.
Covered those.
You don't. No. I can 100% say.
I can 100% say that she's never worked. So,
but that's because she's got kids now.
I didn't say after children.
Listen, what you don't keep in mind is the life's
quality of them maintaining their quality of life. So if she was drinking champagne every night when they were together, she should drink champagne every night when they're apart.
That's not what
okay. No, go ahead. Help me understand. I'm sorry. Did I cut? Let me okay, go ahead.
No, there's something. You know when you get injured, right, here in New Zealand, and like you fucked your knee up, right? You go to ACC. ACC
and they pay
covers
you based on what
your life
you're gonna lose.
Exactly, your potential loss of income. As a mother, now that you're 100% have this child 100% in your care, there is potential loss of income.
Gotcha.
Because you don't work, because this is now your job. You're full time as.
Got you.
Which is a job. Which
I understand. No, I don't feel I understand that at all.
Full-time job, and you're saying 32,000 is not. No, 32,000 doesn't cover.
You lost your fucking mind. Fucking month. Anyway, sorry. So here's why we're going to explain why this is hypothetical and why this doesn't apply to us. So that's us arguing about famous people. But to bring this to a more relatable level, if you, it's hard. It's hard for everyday people.
I can understand.
It's hard for everyday people to. There was a guy who was upset because he was an Uber driver, and the thing that's hard about being an Uber driver is your income fluctuates, and so they based his child support on what his income was the good previous year, and he wasn't making that kind of money the next year, and so the mother of his children kept repeatedly sending him to jail for not making his payments. And he's like, if I can't even pay to get out of jail, I can't work. If I can't work, I can't make your payments. How am I supposed to improve this situation if you don't And so
I do feel
this situation is way more complicated and a lot more challenging.
I do feel
for people
like
who just have everyday.
The child support system in America does need a lot of work.
Quite a bit.
lot of work. But I don't just. For people with that excessive amount of money quibbling over what the mother of your child, like what you pay her, is not, it doesn't register for me.
Right.
But for everyday people...
Right, and I don't have sympathy for men that have multiple families to provide for.
Yeah,
because to quote Ari Lennox, you have too much lust in your dick. Okay? If you wanted to sleep with that many people, you should have wrapped your dick up and bottled up that lust and stopped making children that you couldn't provide for. So I have no sympathy for you not being able to take care of all of these responsibilities that you have created for yourself. Work harder. And so we don't disagree on that. And a lot of the reason that this is hypothetical for us, and a reason that we should never ever split and have no desire to.
Because I'm a Robin.
Well, not even just that. I believe you. Not even just that. I'm not someone who wouldn't fight for my kids, and she automatically believes that as the mother, the children should automatically go to her. You've made this statement on... Okay, never mind. Since we're not doing factual information based on comments that you've made.
Okay, listen, maybe I may have said that in the past, but wait, man, that was 2017. This is 3 years growth.
Okay, fair.
So, listen, I am all for shared parenting. Listen, I'm all for anything that kind of promotes the growth of my children and
them having a healthy. Okay, fair enough. So I will take away from that. But we both are people who would very wholeheartedly.
Man, you're coming for me hard. But since we're not doing factual information anymore.
No. Anyway, but we are both people who very much love our children and have an active desire to be in their lives and be a part of their lives, and us living apart would not benefit our daughters, and it would just make their lives and our lives harder. And I truly believe it'd be a lot harder for us to attain happiness in that situation. And so I'm very happy that we have a happy, healthy, functional marriage and relationship, because we are two people that care.
So if there's anything I want people to take away from this episode, especially women, is get your money. No,
no, she's not. That she says she's joking.
Man, pay his child support. No, but
I think a lot of this discussion and the base of this discussion at the very beginning. So, listen, I'm very hardcore when it comes to genetics, right? When it comes to conception, when it comes to breeding, and who you have your children with, and so you say if this is true or false. Yeah. If I was capable, right?
You would have kids.
No, and this is not talking about our marriage.
Okay.
If I was capable, I would do every part of parenting myself. I would have the baby, all of that. So it's very hard for me to have sympathy in these situations, because I understand that you love who you love. You don't always pick who you love, and none of us plan for situations to turn to shit when we start in relationships. But also, I think people need to put a lot more time and care and effort into who they choose to have children with. Yeah. People have so many opinions and views and all these things that they want to speak on, but then, where was all of that energy when you were out here just making your kids with anyone? Yeah. And now it's all, my baby mother's crazy, my baby father's crazy. You knew they were crazy when you were fucking them. You didn't want to buy crazy condoms. You know what I mean? No, fuck that.
Yeah, I know what I mean?
So children are to me the most important thing in the world. Like, who you share your blood with, who you share your genetics with. This is so much deeper than just letting people into your home. You're letting these people into your family, and this will affect your family and your future for the rest of, until the end of your bloodline. And I don't think people have enough respect for that. And not to judge anybody else or how they live their lives, but personally for me, that's unacceptable. That's completely unacceptable. And there's so many people that I would never, ever have children with or allow to carry my children. And I try not to. The reason is, I was 31 when Shelton was born.
Yeah. 30.
It took me 31 years to have kids because I could not continence. I would not let just anyone have my children. Because that shit is for life, and you are stuck with those people for life, whether you are together or not. Go ahead.
So one thing I did want to say is, even we made this in 2 parts, right?
Yeah.
But we did, the first part was kind of solo mothers who are married,
right?
And I feel like that ties into the childcare aspect,
because
if you look at all the work, that the emotional labor and all the work, that this is why I kind of sometimes don't agree with you on the childcare part, is because I feel like you discount a lot of the work that mothers do, even rich mothers or people who are being paid.
Why would you ever feel like that?
No, but I'm saying you feel like there should be a minimal monetary value.
No, I've never said that.
But look at the way you're talking about your sons of Chief Keef.
I've never said that. I've never said that it should be minimal. I just don't feel it should be $32K. Why can't you do with $15K a month with even 20?
But if you, as Chief Keef, are getting paid a certain amount, $2 million a year, you only given $15,000 to.
If I'm
that is putting minimal.
Let me
finish. That is putting minimal.
Oh, she pushed my hand off, y'all. She said, "Don't touch me. Let me speak." Go ahead.
That's putting a minimal amount on a mother's effort to raise that child.
Okay.
That is, and not even if you're not there, you're discounting all the emotional labor, like having to care for the emotional needs of this child.
So let me clarify.
Completely have discounted.
I can understand how you would think that was my view, based on the things that I've said.
I'm just saying you've discounted it.
No, not at all. And here's the difference. Here's where we messed this up, because we're both speaking from our perspective. So, if I was in Chief Keef's shoes and I had Chief Keef's money, no one would have my children but me. Because you don't have the money to pay for the lawyers that I have. So I win. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that I wouldn't still take care of the mother of my children, because as a man, that's not who I am. Mm-hmm. For the sake of honor and my values and what I believe in, I am always going to take care of my family in every capacity. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and especially financially. Whether we are together or not, if I have bread, you have bread. And I would think that you would know that you could call me in any situation and be like, hey, I want to do this.
But
and I
not
want to do
all
that.
people.
No, I get that. And that's why I said that's why this is crazy, because we're not talking from other people's perspectives in their situations. We're speaking from ours. So there are entire parts of this conversation that need to be thrown away because the people's situations are different from their perspective. And I acknowledge that. We're just talking about for us and from our perspective. But to speak on Earthquake's situation, right? And I side with him. If you would have come to me as my friend, as a woman, and as the mother of my children and said, hey, look, I need this, and I just want to make sure that even though we're parting ways, I can still depend on you to look after these things. Because if I had always handled my responsibilities and done right by you, I don't know why you wouldn't believe that was the case. And if that was the case,
but
and you still chose to take it to a third party, then you're going to get what you get.
But did you cultivate an environment in which I could come to you and speak freely?
Yes. Yes.
Was that the case in Earthquake's situation?
Yes. And he said, to his point, he was baffled why it went in this direction. Because the separation was amicable. And they both agreed that they were good friends, they had a good relationship, and in their time, they loved each other. They just weren't the right people for each other. He says, so if we both agreed on that, then I don't understand the bitterness.
Some women do. There's two sides. The men who don't do enough and women who feel entitled to certain things.
Well, entitled is being gentle and is being nice. Because there are women who actively seek to harm a person post-relationship in any way they can. There was a video, and I think I showed it to you, and there was this woman who, after the relationship was over, her sincere commitment was, I'm going to ruin his life, and he will never be happy again. And she said that. And then she proceeded to accuse this man of sexually molesting all three of his children.
Okay, I feel like
and so he had 20 years where he couldn't see or interact with his children, and the truth didn't come out until they made her take a lie detector test on TV, and it was proven that she lied about every claim and everything she said. That's 20 years he'll never get back.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, we'll wrap this up since she's getting tired. Sorry,
my baby. We really appreciate your guys' time with us today.
We do. We know some people are going to have some hot takes and some things to say about this episode, but this is just something I felt like it was good for us to tackle.
Yeah.
Because we just
vent out and
talk about this for ages. I'm sorry you feel like I came for you. I love you very much. Okay, and the audience, I love you very much.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, we definitely
about child support. I know that there's probably some listeners right now who have, who are either paying child support.
Single ladies, don't hang me. You know what I mean? I care about you. I understand you doing your thing. I wish you the best. Okay, you got this.
Or men who are paying child support right now, like, listen, they're taking too much of my paycheck.
Facts.
Something needs to be done. So
Okay. But we want to hear what you guys think. Thank you for being with us as always. We
And
love you
tune
guys.
in next time.
Yeah, 5.
Bye.